The problem is in the definition of good. So why do you want to be good? You want to be good because you want to follow what society has set parameters for gaining access to employment, for gaining access to partners, to meeting, for socialization, for maintaining order in society, to maintaining your status in society, for getting through peacefully in this life. So goodness is certain parameter that needs to be fulfilled to access a lot of things. So bad things don't access those things. It is being portrayed as such that those bad elements do not uh, do not have that ready access to all these things. Do not have ready access to employment, status, partners, peaceful life, socialization, and maybe some other mystical things like a peace after peace after life or such religious thing. But first thing, the definition of good is incomplete, or the definition of good, I would say, is an old skeleton. We are we are maintaining or preserving an old skeleton that is no longer feasible in this present times. So, and as you know, time is a forward thing, and with time things changes. So we are carrying some old and dilapidated skeletal just for the sake of um, culture. Mm, Maybe it's because it was the wishes and words of our ancestors. Maybe it's religious thing. Maybe it's uh, interclan or something like that. You may have many reasons to preserving that old order, but my point is this order is not working anymore. Why? Because when we see the definition of good, so what is a good person? Mostly it's about behavior. Then your behavior should be modest. You should not harm anyone. And then second thing is about pace. Being good means you are moderate in your pace, neither fast nor slow. Then the intensity of everything. So being good means you need to calibrate your intensity in such a way that it preserves the order, it maintains balance in the society, it maintains balance in the household. You should not overdo or underdo anything. Your intensity should be moderate. And the other next thing is reaction to things. It should be moderate. So if we see the main pillars of the skeletal, the behavior, pace, intensity, reaction, all of these need to be moderate. So the definition of good is being average. It does not push you to go to the extreme. And if you don't go to the extreme, you are just not following life. You are not listening to life anymore. All right, let me give you an example of tardigrades. So if those who have not heard about these creatures, so tardigrades are the toughest and the most resilient of species that can withstand anything. They can withstand UV radiations, then they can withstand radioactive fallout. It means they can withstand uh, nuclear war. They can go without food for months. They can withstand any temperature from negative to positive, all kind of extreme. These are the toughest and resilient things. And I would say this is those who do not believe in life. And I want to you know, stress on looking at these things or reading about these creatures. These are the toughest and the extreme manifestation of life. Life is about extremes. So, and why I say the old skeletal is not no longer working is because the present times, the climate change, first thing, second wars, third, third mental and physical health crisis. All right, and I am not talking about other economical or societal things. They are issues, but they are not as important as these are. Climate change, wars, and mental health crisis, because these are existential threats. You can survive an economic depression, stagnation. You can survive a, a communal fallout. You can survive a, a minor dispute. You can survive a diplomatic failure between United States and China, or United States or Germany or North Korea. We can survive protectionism, but the only thing that helps us survive, I know most of us have forgot this basic thing, it's food, air and water. We are animal species. However, we want to call us higher life forms and for uh, special creature of special hand of God, but we are animal species. We live the same way. We have same physical processes as other life forms, and we need food, air, and water. And these things: climate change, war, and this mental physical health crisis. All of these are a threat on your existence. Because of climate change, if agricultural land are no longer feasible to produce outcomes, if air is so much polluted that the carbon dioxide it crosses around 500 ppm, or the other constituent they breaches their limits, and the percentage of oxygen is reduces beyond 21%, it's an existential threat. And war, these are the direct threats. During wars, somebody is going to kill someone. And then mental and physical health crisis, both of them, they are directly related to your existence of your family, your loved one, existence of all other nodes of the skeletal. The existential crisis on the societies, families, villages, clans, tribes, trees, nations, rivers, everything. So now I'm talking about extremes. We are in extreme of times. At one hand, we need to fight the climate, we need to fight the nature. At the other hand, we need to fight ourselves. So it's a dual fight, and we have opened a lot of fronts. I would say if anybody who is born in these times, and if asked to mention the fronts they are going to fight. So I would say the first one would be nature. Look, it's a very simple thing. Life is dear to everyone. and life is dear to life itself. And if we become a threat to life, if we become a threat to nature, it is going to retaliate. That's an obvious thing. It's not a dear mother who would listen to all our tantrums, who would silently couch down to her own room when we are when we go on our extremes and rallying and crying, or we keep throwing our tantrums, and but our mother keep silent. In this case, life, whose children we are, the life, the hand that created us, and we have gone all out against the same hand that created us. We are biting the same hand that created us. Nature, we take for granted a lot of things. So nature is a web of things, and in this web, there are many species, multiple species, and what we get now, our own survival, food. It's not just a simple phenomena. The food is the food we get by soil. There are microbiota in soil, and there are other various processes that fixes nitrogen. This nitrogen fixation thing, it brings fertility to soil, and the same fertility, when turns into amino acids, it helps in protein. It helps in formation of protein, and our whole life, our whole body, the the body we take take for granted, the body of a higher life form. Fucking. So this simple mechanism, it is worked by trillions of species. The food we get, it it is a combined effort of a lot of, such as pollinators, and these pollinators help in pollinating crops, the same crop we use as food. And there are trillions of species in our own body, our own gut microbiome, the microbiomes in our saliva, the enzymes in our hormones. In short, we have opened a front, and just because of our foolishness, we are going an all-out war at all these species at the same time. If you kill the pollinators, how are you going to get food? If you go an all-out war against the microbiomes, how are you going to survive? These bacteria that you are going to kill, you need them. And now, right now, we can see the AMR, antimicrobial resistance. The bacteria that we had tried to kill have developed the resistance, and that's how it goes. Life will not kill herself for the sake of your greed. And coming back to our thing, that this goodness thing, this moderateness, this has put put us in a bind because we are not we are not thinking about extremes, and we are destroying it together. So I don't know how it is happening that we are moderate in our behavior, and we teach our children to be moderate in their approach. We teach them to be moderate in their behavior, in their language, in their personality, but at the same time we are destroying things. So the catch is the goodness, or the the cultural goodness, the idea or the parameters of goodness are being exploited. And now I'm going to talk about the catch. The catch is that These two people, I mean, how is it, how the whole thing, the whole skeleton is not good, is that they are majority of naive people. Naive people means those people who follow their societal rituals, those people who listen to their fathers, those fathers and their parents, including mothers, those people who want to live a peaceful and moderate life, those who care about others. So those naive people are being exploited in this front. How? The goodness of the and its parameters, these are man-made parameters. These parameters are not given to us by anyone, not even by God. We made them. We created them by repeated learning, by repeated lessons. So these bad things, what they do, that they maintain a facade, a put-on face, that kind of thing. They these bad elements, or these, you know, good or bad thing, I would say that these cunning elements, cunning and clever elements, what they do, they know if they follow the parameters as has been listed by, as has been proposed by their ancestors, or as is being emphasized by society, if they follow those parameters in their way, so they, first thing, they can have their way without any trouble. If society says you should be moderate in your language, and the clever people, they, it's not a difficult task to follow. They can be moderate in their approach, they can be moderate in the language, but what they do after that, so during that moderateness, during that modesty, when they are facing an opponent and uh, following the societal idea of goodness, they do not say anything. They just keep it silent, they keep it moderate. But when the time comes, those people, they wreck a hell in your life. How is this thing good? And second thing, these bad people, they force these naive people to follow a moderate approach. So, in short, these bad elements are creating an army of moderates. So most people are moderate in their approach. They are not going to extreme because the whole culture, it does not support it. And who is benefited from it? These cunning and clever elements who can exploit the whole idea of goodness. And who is to lose? These naive people. They never get out of it. At first thing, they want progress. They want money. But they, all they see is they are dampeners all around. All society, all rituals, all behavior pattern, the whole skeletal is a dampener. It dampens their soul, it dampens their approach, and what happens is most of them, when they are frustrated, they are exploited by some bigger element. So it's a kind of vicious cycle that these people who can exploit these things by putting on a mask, they they are they get everything. They go to extreme, they gather all the success, they accumulate all the money, they keep resources in their hand, and it happens very easily. They just have to put on a face, and this face is what the society has asked them to do. So they are putting on a show, they are following the parameters, and at the same time they are exploiting the others who don't know what to do. So this being good thing is a fallacy in itself. I would urge you to stop looking at this thing in this way. Being good is necessary, but being good is is based on two things. survival and cooperation. So you should narrow down your rituals and uh, your living pattern, your lifestyle to these two things and think about them. First, it's about survival of yourself and your family, your loved ones, and then you need cooperation of people because everything takes a lot of hands to manifest itself. And your actions, and also whatever actions they are, you need to act accordingly. I don't say you need to go on extreme every day, but you need to act accordingly and you need to be mentally prepared for that. The mental health crisis is just an outcome of the of this fallacy, the fallacy of good, because people are not getting what is going on, and they are getting frustrated with all these things, and this has created a mental bubble of you know repressed desires. I would I want to cite a case study coming of age in Samoa. An anthropologist, Margaret Mead, done this study in Samoan girls, and what she found is uh, a smooth transition, a smooth talk on sex and puberty in Samoan girls. So these Samoan girls were free from all kind of prejudices, stereotypes. All they saved themselves from all the frustrations about sexual activity or being or sexual wellness. So in short, the Samoan girl were perform better on sexual wellness just because it was culturally not frustrating. They were not looking at this thing in via cultural lens or via good or bad thing. And in the same way, when she compared the American girls, she found that the American girls are much more frustrated about their sexual wellness. In the same way, I would say the mental health crisis is an outcome of this fallacy. We need to shed it. And now talking about how to find what is really good for you is the survival and cooperation. Survival is you need to act accordingly. If times are good, you can talk good. You can go good. You can be moderate. You can go with ease. But when times are tough, when times are severe, so you should go severe. If if they are extreme times, then you should fight harder. If the life challenges you to go to the unfathomable or the unknowable or the unreachable, you should go for them. You should not dampen yourself. You should not restrict yourself to anything. And second thing, cooperation. And now you need people. And the cooperation thing, it works only when you do not exploit people. Because if you start exploiting people, one day the the same thing will come after you. When when they will learn this lesson, some of them will. And what will happen that at one time you are the perpetrator of this exploitation, you are the exploiter, and the other time you are the victim. And this vicious cycle will go on, and it has some really foolish outcomes. So now look at things in these on these two pedestals. Survival, that in need to survive, do everything. Do not hold yourself back and do not care about the rituals and all these things. Go to every length. And second thing, While doing this, you need cooperation, even if it is your children, even if your kids, your spouse, your members of family, your neighbors, whoever it is. So go to any length to get your things done, but maintain the honest cooperation. Do not go to exploit people. It's not necessary. It will set off a different vicious cycle that will put us down in our own graves. That's it.